Ladies and gentlemen, this podcast is sponsored by CH Peptides, a trusted source for high-quality research peptides like tirzepatide, BPC 157, and IGF 1LR3. With fast shipping, consistent purity, and top-tier service, CH Peptides keeps things simple and reliable. Want to learn more or book an appointment? Just call or text 707-380-6411. And don't forget to use code LikeItOrNot at chpeptides.com for 15% off of your order. That's 15% off your order with the promo code LikeItOrNot. Products are for research use only, not intended for human or animal use. Complete Health Peptides makes no claims or promises regarding the effects of any product. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of the podcast is sponsored by Thompson Construction, an excavating and grading general engineering contractor based out of Ukiah, California. At Thompson Construction, they love what they do and they take the utmost pride in their work and customer satisfaction with great detail and attention to it. No job is too big or too small. Give them a call today for a quote, 707-391-7679. That's 707-391-7679. At Thompson Construction, they specialize in septic systems installation and repairs, land and site development, grading, drainage systems, underground utilities. They're OQ certified for PG&E excavation and backfill, swimming pool excavations. I mean, if you have a job, these guys can get it done. Give them a call today. Thompson Construction, 707-391-7679. This episode of the podcast is sponsored by Thirsty Axe. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking for something to do, the Thirsty Axe is the place for you. Every Wednesday night, trivia. Every Thursday night, karaoke. And awesome events on the weekends. Go to thirstyaxe.com to see all their upcoming events, or just drop by there, get a craft cocktail, have a beer, play some pool, throw some axes. It's just a good environment for some good old time fun. Check them out, thirstyaxe.com. I want to tell you guys about DC Customs. Like we said before, if you haven't followed these guys on Instagram, you totally should. DC Customs Ukiah is their handle on Instagram. They're an off-road shop, a repair shop, a tire and wheel shop, a driveline shop, and spray and bed liners. If you need it, they've got it. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 3301 North State Street right here in Ukiah. Their website is dccustoms.net. They do it all, folks. So if you're in need of something for your rig, go down there and talk to their staff. They're wise, knowledgeable, and super friendly. It's ran by a great pair of people here in our community. And just go down there, tell them your boys from Like It or Not sent you. See if they'll give you a little price break or a little quote on something they got going on for you. So that's dccustoms.net, DC Customs. Saddle up, partners, for the third annual Rhinestone Cowboy Ball. That's right, it's time. Get ready for an unforgettable evening where your presence truly makes a difference. Dust off those old boots and join us for the third annual Rhinestone Cowboy Ball on Saturday, September 20th at the historic Ridgewood Ranch. Proudly presented by Redwood Community Services and generously sponsored by Redwood Credit Union and Comcast. This beloved tradition is more than just a celebration. It's a powerful night of purpose, connection, and community impact. Every ticket directly supports the transformative programs and services of Redwood Community Services, making a lasting difference in the lives of individuals and families across our region. What's in store, you may ask? Savor craft beer and wine and a signature cocktail at their open bar, raising a glass for hope and healing. Enjoy mouth-watering dinner by Cook's Barbecue. Uncover hidden gems in our wine pool and live auction, and dance the night away to music from Wayward Jerry, Chad Bushnell, and Billboard #1 country duo Love and Theft. A lineup that guarantees a night to remember. Tickets are $100. Or gather your crew with a VIP table, because giving back should feel this good. Reserve your spot now at redwoodcommunityservices.org/cowboyball. That's redwoodcommunityservices/cowboyball. Let's ride into the future where every person in our community has the support they need all together. My name is Carter Lane.
I'm Drew Nickel.
Welcome to the show. Oh my God. I think you have a problem, bro.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh my goodness.
So welcome everybody to another episode of Like It or Not. We are happy to be back in the saddle once again.
It feels comfy in the saddle, man. How many shows we did?
Oh, this is our 200th episode, by the way.
Yeah.
And our 5-year anniversary.
All right. We made it.
Hey, we're doing it, pal.
Half a decade, bud.
I can't believe it.
We still got stuff to talk about.
I know. What in the world?
Even after COVID and everything, here we are. Man.
Oh, here we are. And with us today, we have a very special guest, Miss Keely Covello from American Unwon is her Instagram handle. And we're super stoked that you're here with us. Thank you so much for taking the time and being a part of our show.
Oh, thank you guys. I'm really glad to be here. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. So Keely, you're from Mendocino County, right? Born and raised?
Yep. I'm from Potter. My parents are still out there. My dad's like the large animal vet in Potter Valley, Dr. Brazil. So that's where I'm from, and found my way to Southern California, unfortunately. I was just complaining to you guys before the break. I feel like you did not feel bad for me at all that I live in Orange County, but that's fine.
Right. That's the California dream.
No sympathy here.
So your dad's a large animal vet?
Yeah, my mom is a vet too, but there's 8 kids in my family, so she focused on that most of my childhood, but that's how they met, was in vet school. And
does your dad have the large cow gloves that go all the way up to his shoulder?
Absolutely.
Oh, man. You know what those are for.
The kids, yeah.
Those are for keeping your watch on your wrist.
You're like, what is he talking about?
Yeah, that's awesome. And so tell us a little bit about what you do, not only with this Potter Valley Dam project, but like I watched one of your documentaries that you did with a friend, and you had our buddy Matt Kendall on there going around to some pot farms and things like that. And so tell us what you're doing, what you're up to.
Yeah, well, I was a journalist. I went to school for journalism, and my first job as a journalist was for Ukiah Daily Journal. I worked with Casey Meadows, was the editor at the time. I'm not sure if she still is, but she's a great editor back in the day. And she kind of gave me my first shot, just let me report on stuff going on in Mendocino. And I was like 18, 19, and I fell in love with it. I loved reporting. I loved journalism. I worked in DC for a minute, did a semester there. But I think starting out in Mendo, I just loved covering rural stories, and it was really hard to pivot from kind of those gritty stories that took a lot of work, and I was talking to real people and they were very undercovered, to going to DC where everybody had like a prepared statement and a spokesperson and what have you. So it just didn't vibe with me at all, and I didn't want to be there, and I decided I got to find a way to get back to what I love doing in Mendo on a bigger scale and tell stories from rural America. And I think this was 10, 12 years ago. I started like a blog, an independent project at the time, and I've kind of just kept that up and grown it. And that's really where all media is going. I mean, you guys are probably a major news source for local folks now, and you're talking about topics in a more in-depth way, and it's not just a quick canned headline. I just think that's what people crave. They want a little bit more than the canned AP story. They want to hear from people who maybe the media didn't used to call. And I feel like my life, I've been blessed to have a lot of those types of sources. So those are the stories I gravitate toward. And that's kind of how I started Unwon.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you have also a website. You can plug that. I was reading a lot of your articles, and I mean, would you call that a blog, an article? What do you call those? They're really great, and they're very in depth.
Thank you. I guess it's a blog. I hate that term, but I guess that's really what it is.
I don't like that term either.
It seems so old.
Right?
Yeah.
That term seems like old and teenage.
Blogger sounds like booger. It's just like...
Yeah, it's not appealing at all. But it is really technically. I don't know what else it would be. I can't call myself a news organization. It's pretty much just me. I have some guest writers and stuff sometimes, and I have a lot of great people on. I do a podcast occasionally, not like you guys. It just, if I have someone who's like a great source and I want people to hear more from them, we'll just drop an episode with that person. But yeah, it's a Substack, America Unwon. And I end up covering a lot of California stories, but really focusing on the West. When I was in DC, I realized these people no offense to them, but they just don't really leave the Beltway. So they have no idea what's going on, especially in the American West. It's like a foreign land to them. They don't really even know the first thing about how to report on those kind of stories. I learned that pretty close up when I was there. So I just think the American West is still very undercovered, and our stories don't get it told in DC the way they should. They don't get the attention they should, and they're important. But we're still a little bit of a frontier at the end of the day. I mean, we're not that old out here, and California is still kind of wild and woolly, especially up north. So there's a lot of material.
Yeah,
That's right.
I was going to say, then you can bring that up north of the Golden Gate Bridge, and there's like, half of California doesn't even know what's going on up here, that we even exist. People are like, there's something north of Santa Rosa?
Yeah.
That would be where the flat earth ends, isn't it? You know what I mean? So it's some of the stories you're covering from that point are really important, because I think it's such it's a snapshot of like what's going on in California everywhere, and with public lands throughout the United States, and there's just so much going on, especially when it comes to personal property rights and food producers. I mean, it's crazy, and I just don't think people even really understand what's going on. Myself included, till I started reading your Substack, and then I was like, oh, we introduced wolves? Like, does that sound like a terrible idea to anybody else? We definitely got to talk about that. But
it's crazy.
It's the dumbest shit in the world. I mean, to be honest, it just is like, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Even down here in Southern California, nobody knows where Mendocino County is.
Right.
I mean, if you've lived in NorCal your whole life and you've been to Southern California a few times, you probably know the state so much better than the average Southern Californian, because it's just such a diverse place, and they can't really get past like just the little LA bubble or what have you. They think it ends with the 5 or San Francisco, and there's a lot going on up north, and the wolves are still north of us, but I know a lot of ranchers who are pretty worried they're going to get to Mendo before too long. So, but just the fact that there are so many of them in a part of the state that doesn't even impact Mendo, which is like 3 hours north of San Francisco. It's just like, it's a wild, I mean, I guess that's Jefferson basically by the time you get up there, but it's wild.
Right. Well, before we get into that, I would definitely want to talk about that, but let's talk about the Potter Valley situation here. You've been covering this for how long? I mean, it's been a while, right?
It's been a few years now.
But it really seems like it's coming to a head.
Yes, this year especially, I really tried to start reporting on it and writing about it, because whatever your politics are, it doesn't really matter. There's been a shakeup in Washington, so it felt like we had a chance to maybe get some federal attention on this that we probably didn't have before, which is kind of the last hope for the Potter Valley Project, is getting some federal attention. I don't think the state is coming to help us.
No, definitely not. In fact, it might even be part of their master plan. But so for people because we were just talking about this before we started the podcast, there's a lot of people here in Mendocino County who aren't even aware of the situation. So I know you've covered it a lot, but maybe just briefly for someone who's listening to this and wants to know exactly the situation that's going on, particularly in Potter Valley, maybe you could give us a quick rundown on that.
Yeah, no problem. Well, it's starting in Potter Valley because of some water cuts that just happened. But I do want to be clear, it's not going to stay in Potter Valley. It will hurt people all the way down to Bodega Bay, Marin County. It's going to affect people. I mean,
over
something
600,000.
like 600.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, 600,000 people get at least some of their water from the Potter Valley Project. So Potter Valley Project is based in Potter Valley in Lake County, up by Pillsbury. Pillsbury is formed by the Scott Dam, which diverts less than 1% of the entire flow of the Eel River into Lake Pillsbury as a holding facility during the high wet winter season that we have here. We don't get any rain. You guys know this. Don't get any rain in the summer. We're not going to get any rain for a little while. We get a lot in the wintertime. So the Potter Valley Project was built back in the 1920s as a hydroelectric facility by the Snow Mountain Power Company to create power, but it's become even more vital for water storage. So Lake Pillsbury ends up supplying an enormous part of the Russian River watershed, because during the summer, we let some of that water out to fuel the Russian River. And it actually goes back into the Eel River too. I think that's an important piece of this. If you have Humboldt listeners, we're not stealing water. That water would be lost in the ocean otherwise. This is just, it holds back a little bit of it. And then the Potter Valley Project does release some of that water back into the Eel River during the summertime when there aren't cool flows. So there's an argument that it helps the salmon and it helps both the eel and Russian River watershed. So it's just pretty much a positive all the way around. I think after the fires we've seen up close and personal in the last 6 to 8 years or so, there's no denying that we need more water storage. And the whole state believes that. The whole state feels that way. I haven't met anyone who doesn't think that we don't need more water storage and more fire management. And the Potter Valley Project has been such a huge part of that strategy for Northern California. I mean, we've had 2 of the biggest fires in California history, 2 of the 3 biggest fires since 2017. And both of them were extinguished eventually with water from Lake Pillsbury. So that's set to go away. I can get into why a little bit, but just to kind of lay the groundwork of what we're talking about. It also, that water goes to Lake Mendo, which is a vital source for Sonoma and Marin counties, even though they may not quite realize that. It's a little out of sight, out of mind for them, but that's where they get a lot of their water too.
Yeah, the only people who seem to think we don't need more water storage live and work in Sacramento. You know what I mean? It's just like those
right.
are and
exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and
so they want to PG&E owns and operates the dam, and they're now claiming that it's old, and because of the cost to fix it, it's just cheaper to basically rip it out and let Lake Pillsbury turn back into a river and let everything go back to the way it was prior to the dam. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, exactly. They're planning to rip out the dams, which is an expensive process, tear them out completely. Lake Pillsbury will dry up. They say Mendocino, even by their own estimates, Lake Mendocino will run dry 6 years out of 10, even with their 2 basins solution that they talk about. It's not really a solution at all.
So because
and the reason,
go ahead.
No.
Because,
well, I was just going to get into why PG&E is doing that, but
yeah, go ahead.
Anyone's guess, really.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Go ahead.
I'm curious your thoughts, because honestly, it's not clear to me. I have my theories. I can't exactly prove it, but I do think it's political. I think that Gavin Newsom and our Congressman Jared Huffman have kind of this pro-fish over human beings mentality where they're interested in the appearance of making a positive environmental impact by tearing these dams out. And I think Gavin Newsom likes the idea of running with a record as being the greenest governor. And he said that publicly, part of his plan to achieve that appearance is tearing these dams out.
Well, the crazy thing is that how PG&E, because I guess they paid for it and technically own it, that they get to make the sole decision of whether it comes out or not. Like, you have 100 years of people building their lives around this water source, their farms, and not just people. We're talking animals as well. Like, there's a whole ecosystem now that exists, and they're just going to rip it out. It seems absolutely insane. And I definitely have some theories about why they're doing that as well. I think, they want to seem green. They want to do it for the fish. I think that's all. What do you call it? Topical. I think the real reason is an environmentalist agenda is really a dehuman agenda. I think, the way you control people is but control their food, and, water is the number one ingredient with sunlight and effort that basically we live on. And it's just so absolutely crazy that that's what's on the table here.
100%. Yeah, I agree with you.
Another thing that I heard, and I had a party, and I had a few people come up to me because I told them you were coming on, and they had told me that they had heard basically from people that worked for PG&E 2 things. One, that PG&E actually was they have studies that show that actually leaving the dam there is better for the fish because it keeps the water colder, and that they know that, but that's, basically being suppressed. And the second part of this, which I think is another agenda item here, that is a reason why they're doing it, is the money that they're making in solar Solar energy versus hydroelectric energy is like they're, like you said, they got these big dams. You know how easy it is for them to just make everybody put solar panels on their roof, require that happening as a part of building, ripping out vineyards and farmland right down the street from our studio is now went from pears is now a dust bowl of solar fields. I mean, just dusty solar fields now. And that's so much cheaper to maintain. And the third part of that, and then I'll kind of flip it back to you, is that I'm also a real estate agent and investor, and I'm talking to people who are getting these solar panel systems on their house. And the way that they're being sold it should be illegal. They're putting overcost systems on people's houses, and they pay extra more than their bill would be per month for PG&E, and after 3 years, they still haven't even paid down any of the actual cost of the system. So I think there's something to PG&E wanting to transfer away from hydroelectric power that's going on, and turn farmland into solar land.
Wow. Yeah, that's really interesting. I have heard that theory that the dams are good for salmon. I'm not going to pretend to be a biologist and make claims. But that's what I've heard. I've spoken to really knowledgeable people about this. EJ Crandall is the supervisor in Lake County, and he talked on my podcast. We did like a little interview where he was explaining that is the case. He's also a tribal leader for the Robinson Rancheria Band of Pomo Indians. And he was explaining that the cool water flows out of Lake Pillsbury are beneficial for the salmon. So I do think there's more going on. There's a pretty interesting case to be made for, see if I can pull up my notes on this. I haven't reported on this yet because I do want to try to connect some dots, but maybe your listeners would have a tip on this. So back, after the Paradise fires, which I think was in 2017, the same year as our big fire here. Pull this up really quick. There was a bill that passed that essentially, gave PG&E a bailout for the amount that they owed to these fire victims in Paradise because they did plead guilty to manslaughter. I think 80 something counts of manslaughter in the Paradise fires.
PG&E did?
And yep, exactly. So
crazy.
Newsom bailed them out. He backed AB 1054. You should look this up. AB 1054 was a law designed to bail out PG&E by limiting its wildfire liabilities. It created a $21 billion insurance fund and gave investors protections, all this, even though California fire victims were left undercompensated. And remember, when PG&E they declared bankruptcy, but they still paid their executives massive bonuses, and they're a huge political donor. I think almost every single politician in California has taken money from PG&E. They're Gavin Newsom's second highest donor. So they throw money around everywhere, which is a conflict of interest because they're state regulated. They're a monopoly. We don't have a choice. We can't go to anyone else in Northern California for our energy needs. So they're regulated by the California Public Utilities Commission, CPUC, which is all appointed by the governor. So there's a whole long history of corruption, proven corruption, there from, prior governors on down, I believe, to Gavin Newsom. I think that he is just as corrupt. And if you look at the amount of money PG&E has given to him, but also to his wife's nonprofit, she has a gender identity nonprofit. They've given her hundreds of thousands of dollars. She's made multiple films through that nonprofit. PG&E is named as a producer on those films. It's just very incestuous. So there was a meeting between PG&E representatives, Newsom staff, and an attorney from the law firm that went on to draft the language of AB 1054, this bailout bill. And this firm had previously represented PG&E. So they drafted the law that we all are now subject to, but they had previously represented PG&E privately, which seems like a huge conflict of interest. One of the people that Gavin Newsom went on to appoint to CPUC, one of his staffers, was also present at this meeting. This was held in June of 2019. Closed door meeting, no notes. And what I've heard, but I can't confirm, is that Potter Valley Project was one of the agenda items during that meeting. So I don't know how to confirm that, but that is reported. That's out there, that was one of the things that came up. And I think before that meeting, PG&E hadn't formally filed to surrender the dams. They didn't want to pay to build a fish ladder. They were kind of leaning toward removal, it seems like, but they hadn't taken formal steps. After that meeting, they got this bailout bill, and they, by the end of the year, had formally filed with FERC to surrender the dams. So I just wonder what happened in that meeting. It feels like, just my opinion, like a quid pro quo of some kind happened, where Gavin Newsom, he wants to make the fish people happy. He wants to make Cal Trout happy, all these NGOs. I believe the head of Cal Trout is now the head of California Fish and Wildlife, which is another interesting conflict of interest. But he wants to make those people happy because he wants to run for president. He wants their support. So if you can get these dams out, I'll support this bill and bail you out of this situation in paradise. It's just messy. And the fact that there's no notes, the fact that he supported this bill, the fact that PG&E, I've emailed Jared Huffman's office, and they confirmed to me that we're going to pay for the dam removal. PG&E doesn't have to pay for dam removal. They can charge us, ratepayers, and we're going to cover the cost. So we're going to cover the cost to kill our own water source. So sorry, long-winded, but there's a lot going on here. And I'm one of the few people trying to dig into this, but it's super corrupt. And our area, our region will never be the same. If these dams go out, the place that we know and love and have for 110 years will never be the same because we won't have water anymore.
So one is what they filed. It was 2.5 billion basically to pull these dams out. Something like that.
They have listed 530 million as the cost. I don't know where they get that.
So that gets passed on to all PG&E people, the people in the area. I mean, basically your power costs go up again so that they can rip out the dam. And have
Which
less hydroelectric power, right?
Yes.
So people really need to understand that. Like, this is how it affects you one way, right, in your pocketbook. And then the second thing you're talking about here, and I'm curious, like, from who you've talked to, and I know you've also studied what happened with the Klamath and things like that because they ripped out 2 dams up there. If these dams come out, what's the future for Potter Valley and the 600,000 people that get water from, and beyond, right? Countless animals, and beyond. If these dams come out,
we're going to be a dry valley. Potter Valley will be a dry valley like other places in California without a water source. Won't be any more farming. I think people in Sonoma and Marin, especially Marin, I'm sure they'll find another water source. I'm sure. I've talked to people down there who are worried about their own towns or ranches getting flooded out to build a dam to replace the Potter Valley project. They're already talking about, this is supposedly shelved. One of their many options was to flood out a bunch of ranchers and build the Sula Julie Dam, so folks in Marin would have water to replace what's getting taken out with Potter Valley project.
They'll find someone else's milkshake to drink.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Go figure that Gavin Newsom's county will find a backup water source. But for people in Mendocino County, we're much lower income. We're much less urban than Marin County. For people in Lake County, I really worry about Lake County because that is their vital, vital fire resources, Lake Pillsbury. Lake Pillsbury is in Lake County. And without that firefighting resource, those poor folks have just been decimated by fires in the last 10 years. I mean, it's been awful. So nobody's coming to help Mendocino and Lake counties. We haven't built a new major reservoir in California since 1977, so it's not going to happen.
Which is the dumbest shit ever. Like, and I'm sorry, but it's just like, these are the people that you're voting for that have no foresight to think that maybe in California, where sometimes it goes long periods of time without raining, that maybe you might want to store a little bit of it for, the rough times and to keep food growing and to keep farms operating. Like, this is common sense. We're just living in a freaking clown world here. It's crazy.
A very corrupt clown world.
Right.
That's the thing.
So do you think the river, like, I'm trying to picture, like, so then what happens to the Russian River and the Eel River in the summertime? Is there even water in those? Does that flow year round? Is it going to be hot, warm? I mean, you're not an environmentalist, but I'm just kind of curious your thoughts on what you've heard or think.
I've asked different people, but I think the Russian River largely will go dry in the summer. And the Eel River, this is 0.37% of the flow of the Eel River that's diverted through the Potter Valley project. And I really want to make that point because nobody's trying to screw over Humboldt County. I mean, that's an important thing I get a lot of comments. People are like, well, free the eel, give us back our water. Mendocino's been stealing water from Humboldt. That's really not the case. That water would just go out to the ocean otherwise. It's 0.37% of the flow of the eel, and some of it goes back to the eel during the summer when none of us get rain. That's just how it is in Northern California. We're not getting rain in the summertime. So this is a project that benefits the Eel River as well. 0.37% of the entire flow of the Eel River that serves 600,000 people. That is vital, precious infrastructure. That's something that we built a community around. So I don't think it's hurting Humboldt. And I do think that both rivers ultimately will suffer without it. And, you know, at a certain point, it's like those dams have been there for 100 years. You talk about restoring the ecosystem. This kind of is our ecosystem now. You go up to Lake Pillsbury, there's all these tule elk up there. I don't know, you guys been up there before? It's really
of course,
beautiful, kind of a wild place. Yeah. And all those tule elk, you can see like find sheds up there. It's just gorgeous. Those are, I don't know if they're officially endangered, but they're definitely one of the species that needs a little extra protection. There's not a lot of tule elk. They're already, I've heard reports, again, I can't totally confirm this, but one of my buddies talked to a Fish and Wildlife rep who said they're planning to cull 90% of the tule elk herd up at Pillsbury because they know already they're going to starve to death. There's not going to be enough water. So they're just going to massacre these elk. And there's history of them doing that type of thing. Places like the Channel Islands, where the Park Service wiped out elk from helicopters to create a park there. I think that whatever they're trying to sell you about caring for the animals is usually bullshit, and you should really look into the real story. Because, you know, San Francisco, they get water from Hetch Hetchy Dam. Nobody's talking about tearing down Hetch Hetchy. It's just the little rural people that don't matter that you can get your green bona fides from tearing out their water source, their water system, feel good about it, pat yourself on the back, and turn on your faucet at night.
Yeah, and meanwhile, we're already suffering from like not having enough game to feed, you know, predators, you know, and bears and all these other animals that, you know, feed off of elk and things like that. It's so crazy. I mean, you just hear this, like they're going to cull herds of elk so that, you know, we can just rip out the dam and save the fish.
Yeah.
Right. What are they? The schmelt. The schmelt.
Oh gosh.
You know what I mean?
Schmelt in Central Valley. Yeah, I know. And they're extinct anyway. You know, we've picked all these farmers off their land, and there's no more smelt anyway. They're virtually extinct.
Well, then you have a bunch of people in Potter Valley who can't farm anymore, and then their land is worthless, right? Like, what are they going to do? They can't like sell their land and move on, right?
Worthless, yeah.
So what are these people going to do, right? And that's a major issue too. So I saw, was it earlier this week or last week that you got some attention from DC though?
Yeah, we did. I'm excited to talk to you guys about that. I'm not connected. I'm not like this connected person, but I've been working really hard to try to get to somebody in DC, and there have been some really good people who have reached out. I worked with them on some other like unrelated issues. There was a family in South Dakota that was being threatened with prison time over a fence argument with the Forest Service. So I ended up connecting with some people who helped them in DC. I am really impressed that there's a lot of people, you won't hear their names necessarily. They're not big parts of the administration, but they really care about farmers' interests. And that's been really encouraging. So folks like American First Policy Institute, which is a think tank in DC. They've been incredibly helpful. They just opened a rural policy center. I'm pretty sure it's the first rural policy center in DC. I know anyway. And they're very focused on helping rural issues like this. So anyway, I've been trying to get a hold of people, trying to explain why this issue matters. Their question is, why am I not hearing about this from anyone else? I think it's like a little confusing to them. They're like, who are you and why are you telling me about this water project that is vital to over 500,000 people, and I haven't heard about this from any media sources. So that's a little confusing. And I've been, you know, slowly we're getting a little more media attention, a little more coverage. But last week, kind of out of the blue, our agriculture secretary, Brooke Rollins, tweeted that she's on this, she's looking at this. So that was really encouraging. I don't know exactly what that means. This isn't under the Department of Agriculture. The Forest Service is under the Department of Agriculture, and that's all Forest Service land up there. So maybe there's some crossover there. I'm sure they don't want millions of acres of Mendocino National Forest to burn, which it will without Lake Pillsbury. So that could be an avenue. But I've also been able to talk to some folks over at the Department of the Interior, and we've heard a lot of really positive things. One of the folks at DOI was pretty high up. Her quote to us was, the Trump administration doesn't tear down dams. We do not believe in that. It's tough because you're dealing with a private company, PG&E, right? So it's not like a federal project or a state project, but they're on board, at least ideologically. It's just a matter of what can we do and how can we organize the community to see that it matters so that we can raise enough awareness to get this out there. And I think that's why it's so important that people, your audience, knows about this and starts speaking up about it, because we are going to have to fight for this ourselves. Nobody is coming to save us.
Yeah.
So that's the name of the game right now, is raising awareness for this. That's like the most important thing that we can do, that people can do, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to help and don't know how to help.
I'm about to chain myself to the dam.
Yeah, where's
I'm gonna go Julia Butterfly.
Where's Butterfly?
Style.
Yeah, where's Julia Butterfly when we need her, dude?
I'm gonna fling some poop when they get close.
I don't know. Let's do it. I'll be out there with you, dude.
The human chain around the dam.
Let's go live on a dam for a year.
Truly, I camp out on the dam.
Yeah, I've caught some largemouth bass
Perfect.
around that
That would be
dam.
great. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, that's a start.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do
I got to
that
tell
for
my kids
sure.
I'm leaving town for a little
I think that's
bit.
a good start. That's the best idea I've heard so far.
I think you got to bring your kids.
Bring my kids?
Yeah,
I
we're gonna
don't
teach them a
know,
little
dude.
something about
Yeah,
civic
truly.
responsibility here. This is your duty.
I guess so.
You like water? You like to shower and drink in it? Well, then
Get your ass on this dam for a year.
grab your bedroll. We got work to do.
Get out your little iPhones and put this on Facebook or whatever they're using.
So, who is for this? Like, I was reading about it. There's like the Sierra Club, and then are you talking, or have you heard of like it seems like the other one is like Native Americans that are very much for like, restore the land back. This is our land, our water. Rip this thing out and let Pachamama do its thing. Is there other people that are for it? Is that accurate, or I mean, there's got to be another side to this besides our point of view.
Yeah. I mean, I keep looking for like, what's the logical reason? What's the thing I'm missing? Nothing can be this black and white.
Yeah.
Right.
So no, tribes aren't, right? You never think like, I always want to give the other side the benefit of the doubt. Like, what are you looking to do here? I can't find an argument that this will help the fish. I really can't, especially after seeing what happened to the Klamath River, which is also being misrepresented, but that did not help the fish. And I don't think it will. And the fishermen there that I've talked to don't think it will. I think it's also not true that tribes support this, even though that's what the media will say. Round Valley Tribe does support this. They do have some kind of a deal where they will have water rights that they'll be able to sell back to water users. So they do have a financial interest here. And I think that's important to know. Yeah. And they can look out for their community, or totally respect that, as they should. But I blame politicians and media people who say the tribes support this and try to kind of tokenize this one tribe that does support it, but they also have a financial interest in doing that, right?
Yeah.
And pitting them against tribes that have chosen not to speak out for a reason. So I'm not going to say that, I know EJ Crandall, for example, doesn't want to say he speaks for his tribe, but he is a tribal leader who's been very vocal against this. And Potter Valley Tribe just filed a motion to intervene in dam removal. They say, according to their filing that I read, that they've been kept out of talks about dam removals since this conversation started. They have been kept out, maybe because the powers that be knew that they weren't going to be on the same side. So all that to say, I don't think the tribes are for it. I think the people that are for it are politicians, ambitious politicians. Jared Huffman, I don't really have anything good to say about him, frankly, and he is a former environmental lawyer. And he wrote an open letter saying the dam removals are an example of a case of environmental justice or something like that, just
Right.
some of that like woke type of
Bullshit.
twisting of, but we're his like constituents, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
It's just wild that he would do something that is this dramatically against our interests. Sorry.
So we need to blow up his
Yeah,
phone. I'm going to
soapbox.
call him and be like, hey, I know I didn't vote for you, but I am your constituent, and you son of a bitch, you better do something about this. Maybe we could like make some T-shirts or something too. Like fuck the fish T-shirts or something.
There you go.
Fuck the fish t-shirts.
Well, yeah.
I don't know that that's
Potter
the way
Valley
to go, but I like that you're
2026,
thinking
baby.
about it.
Yeah, dude. We'll sell 1 million, man.
Fuck the fish, save the dam.
I mean,
that will really trigger him.
so create awareness and make noise. I mean, that's really all we can do, right?
Okay.
Right our
Yeah,
right Jared Huffman.
Yeah.
And just blow up his
Yeah.
voicemail.
right now.
Talk to his AI bot and just be like, hey,
He's probably a waste of time.
word. Yeah.
Well, who else?
Yeah, good
Who
luck
else do we
reaching
talk
him.
to then?
I mean, I would write to, Mike Thompson. He's the representative for Lake County, and he's been a little more reasonable. I would call CPUC if you can. If you can reach anyone who's regulates. It's tough because there's just not a lot of people in California that are going to listen to us. That's just the truth, and that's why I've taken the route of filming ranchers and putting them on social media and creating some heat to where you can't just get away with this without it having some blowback. Truly, if Gavin Newsom wants to run for president, I really am curious how Georgia and some of these purple states that have a more large rural population are going to react to the way he's treated rural California. You can't just treat us like this and think it won't come back to haunt you. And I don't want him to get away with it. I want people to know why this is happening. And if the dams are taken out and we run out of water and people's wells dry up and you have to leave, I don't want it to be lost to history why that happened and exactly who was behind it. So at the very least, it's like a record of what happened. But, I think sharing this on social media, trying to get more attention on it, writing to your representative, Jared Huffman, fine, write him a letter, let him know, be on the record that this is not something you support. And then there are some community groups that are starting to form to push back on this. Carrie Bott and Mendo Matters has been a leader on this. Save the Potter Valley Project out in Potter Valley. They have meetings. They're getting organized around this. Save Lake Pillsbury, the Lake Pillsbury Alliance. They've been on this for years and years at this point. So there's local folks that you can kind of get plugged in with. And I think as things progress, there'll be more opportunities to write letters, make public comments. I'm sure, the state that it's at right now, PG&E submitted their final surrender application to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, which is FERC. And I think FERC will open up a comment period at some point. That would be a great time for people to flood their comment section with exactly how against this they are. But yeah, truly, whether you can get a lake, save Lake Pillsbury in your yard, whatever you can do to just kind of be aware of this, be talking about this. If you know people in Sonoma and Marin, they need to know about this. They don't, and it will hurt them. They will get hurt. Sonoma County Farm Bureau, they have done some work on this. They did an economic impact report. So people are starting to try to fight back. I think they're starting to feel a little hope. For a long time, we were just told there's nothing you can do. Don't even try. Dams are coming out no matter what.
Fuck that.
Yeah, I think we should make T-shirts. I've been sitting here thinking of different ones to bring awareness. So
Amen.
T-shirts?
yeah, because if ever you're seeing it, like how about like keep Potter Valley
I'll wear
moist?
all the t-shirts. Yeah, please.
If you see a keep Potter Valley moist shirt, you're gonna be
you
like,
go.
"What's that about?" I think we'll sell a lot, and we can donate it all to like keep the dam in or something like that. All right, I'm gonna keep
Like a very
working. On
You
it.
keep-
solution.
hey.
I love it.
You keep those gears going, buddy.
Get your.
Is there another company besides PG&E that could like take over this dam? Is that like an option at
that's
all?
a great question. Yes, Yeah, I think someone needs to buy the dam. Mendocino County, Lake County. I think one of our governments should like get their ducks in a row and try to buy this dam. We can work on getting federal grants to match it, something like that. 100%.
I got 5 on it.
A great solution. I have heard again. Yeah, right. Exactly. That's about what I've got at this point. I've heard that people have tried. There have been offers to PG&E, and PG&E is not really taking offers like they say they are, but they're not really trying to sell this. That's what I've heard from people who would know. But I mean, if they have enough pressure, maybe they'll just want to pass this over. And in their defense, they were sued over and over and over again by these environmental like NGOs, like Friends of the Eel River, I believe. California Trout, these types of groups sued them for hurting the salmon. So, there's liability attached. I think we need to like fix that at the end of the day. That's one of California's biggest problems. It's just these like harassment lawsuits. And then you look into the financial incentives and there's money already set aside by the state of California to restore the river. And some of that money is going to go to these same NGOs that have been pushing to rip the dams out. So they're going to most likely end up getting taxpayer money to restore the river, whatever that means after they've been pushing to destroy the river and our water.
We need to make them an offer they can't refuse.
It just seems like if someone was going to come and say, hey, instead of spending the $500 million that it's going to cost to rip it out, we'll pay you $200 million to just give it over to us. Like, isn't Kaya,
100%.
The Lake Mendocino Dam is the Army Corps of Engineers. Like maybe they could take it over. Maybe that's really the solution, is finding who could take it over and having them get some of the water rights and be able to, use that water to pay for the dam costs and all that kind of stuff. Like they did when they put them in.
Yeah.
So how long
exactly.
How long do you think we have until they want to rip this thing out? Like if it was going to go down according to their plan, when would it be coming out?
They want to get it out in 2028. That's what they've said.
Okay, that's going to come quick.
Only got a few years here. And yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think, there's a lot to this. I've heard all the arguments people have made. This is an aging infrastructure, whatever. CPUC approved, I think, 6 or 7 rate hikes from PG&E on us, right? We had to get our power bills raised like 6 or 7 times last year alone, and they reported a $2 billion profit margin or something. So there's just so much corruption. There's no way this could happen without California letting it happen. If they wanted this dam to stay, it would stay. So something absolutely reeks here. And I just think between, the environmental impact that these fires have had, I don't know. I think that's what really radicalized me, is living through these massive fires and just knowing nobody comes to help us. We don't get the kind of attention LA is going to get. But that's our one shot to put these fires out, is Lake Pillsbury. And to be even more without resources after the summers of like toxic smoke we've lived through. I'm sure you guys don't want your kids to live in a future like that. I know a lot of people who are already planning to move if this fight is not successful.
It's fucking traumatizing, to be honest. Every time I see or smell smoke.
Sorry to be so dark. I know.
No, I think it's true. I mean, every time I see or smell smoke, like I get all like worried about it, and if LA's the one getting all the attention, well, we saw what happened with the fires there, so you can only imagine what's going to happen to us up here, So I think, we got to get the word out and find someone to buy this dam. Seems like a really good solution. Buy the damn dam.
Buy the damn dam. Keep Potter Valley moist.
Keep Potter Valley moist. Can we like paint it gold and put like Trump's dam on there? You know what I mean? That'll definitely get it ripped out, huh?
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Exactly.
There's a couple other things I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, you guys are in charge of saving this fam now. You've had the best ideas I've heard.
I think
Oh,
so.
well, thank you very much.
You know, it's,
Yes, go ahead. Shoot.
it's a big burden to
giving
bear,
authority.
but I'm ready for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's my civic duty.
Yeah. We never know
yeah,
where this
I can tell.
podcast
It's
is
in
going
good
to take
hands.
us. We started in my garage and now we're saving Potter Valley Dam. You know, it's just our calling, I guess, bro.
I'm going to start living on it.
Yeah. I think we should. We should move. We should do an episode from the dam.
Yes. I'll be look like Rip Van Winkle up there.
You should, actually.
Long beard, Jesus slippers on, and they'll just be like, "It's our water."
Yes. I love it. So what else?
The
What about
energy we've been needing. Yes, exactly. I'm
Yes.
so glad we're having this conversation.
Absolutely.
Me too.
That will save the dam.
Okay, so a couple other things that I think are crazy that are going on is like that you're reporting on that I think more people need to know about is this whole Point Reyes situation that's going on. And what basically when and I'll kind of turn it over to you, but from reading some of your articles on your Substack, it was that, a lot of these cattle ranchers lease the land from, is it the state or
National Park Service.
National
Yeah,
Park
the feds.
Service? And the National Park Service is just basically like not renewing it, treating them like they don't matter, and then behind the scenes getting like environmental groups all riled up and being like, "Oh, we're doing this because of the outcry," but secretly they're like the ones pumping people up to basically come and just try and again take the land, right? I mean, it's really kind of crazy what's going on there. Maybe you can talk to us about it a little bit.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Reyes is like such an isolated place. Back in the day, it was just farms and ranches that fed San Francisco. At some point, the people in San Francisco wanted a park. They wanted some nature preserve near the city. So they started looking at these little farmers and ranchers in Point Reyes. And eventually they were able to get the Park Service to seize all that land by eminent domain. The ranchers did not want that. They fought it. Didn't matter. The government took their land anyway, with the promise that you guys can always live here. Your children can live here. You're going to be part of the culture of this park. We're going to give you these agricultural leases forever, and you'll always be able to run your cows and keep this place as it's been. And then a bunch of environmental groups again started suing the Park Service, suing over the existence of these ranchers, saying that they are hurting the environment. And they didn't lose those lawsuits, but how long can you really stand against these massive, deep-pocketed NGOs that want you gone? I mean, they can just sue you forever and keep you in court. And these are just farmers. They're just trying to feed their cows and take care of their kids. And they can't afford to lawyer up the way that these environmental groups can. So eventually they reached a settlement that was announced in January that the ranchers would be leaving and they were getting bought out by the Nature Conservancy. The Nature Conservancy would take over their leases and they would leave. So like on paper, the Park Service is just like, oh, whatever you guys want to do, it's fine. We're just a third party. But there were some internal emails of the Park Service celebrating like what a great way to go out as they're like switching over administrations, cheering that these farmers were getting kicked out. So in my opinion, this is what they always wanted. They probably worked with these groups to try to force the ranchers out, so that they can just have this barren landscape that it's not a very tourist heavy destination anyways. The soil there is incredible. Like I've talked to people that know a lot about soil and they're just like, this is an incredible place because of these ranchers who've been grazing it with so much care for so long. But they're gone. I mean, they're packing up and leaving. I know that the DOI is trying to help them, trying to do something, but I don't know if they're going to be successful or not. I already know some of the ranchers have like moved their cows and they're kind of getting ready to leave. So it's tragic. It's like a huge loss for our history and our state.
And these are the same fucking hippies that are sitting there like protesting, like corporate meat and all of these terrible living conditions for cows and animals that live in these little cages. And so here you have cows that have a relationship with the people that take care of them, out here grazing on some of California's most beautiful pasture land, really connecting to an actual ecosystem of they eat the grass, they fertilize the grass grows back. It all is working symbiotically and producing like some of the best grass-fed meat that you can get. And now we're running them off there. So again, like the lady says, so you can just stare at a nice wide open pasture and then go back to the city and eat your chick fucking fillet. It just drives me fucking crazy, dude. You know what I mean? It's just like
No, totally.
You go back and eat your
100%.
Impossible Burger, which has probably got humans in it. Look into that one, okay? Since we're throwing out random conspiracy theories, check that one out. Soylent Green, baby.
Just dropping nukes on this pod.
Yeah.
I can't help myself.
Yeah, no kidding. I know. It's also like, honestly, I would not be surprised. And it's ironic too, because like one of the reasons that they're saying these ranchers have to go is because there's Thule elk on Point Reyes, and we need to get all the ranchers off and all the cows off so that the Thule elk can thrive on Point Reyes. Meanwhile, like 2-3 hours north, they're killing elk. They're planning to kill elk. I know for a fact they've increased like the tags that you can get up at Lake Pillsbury, kind of planning ahead for this. That is proven. I don't know if they're trying to call 90% for sure. That's just what a ranger told someone, but they're killing elk because they got to rip out a dam. It's just always about some other purpose. It's always about money. It's always about politics. And it's always like our little rural communities. And it's wild because why couldn't people from San Francisco, to your point, like go have a day where you learn about your food? It's just a close little short drive and you can go interact with these ranchers. I talked to some of them. They're like, we would love nothing more than to show people around, show them what regenerative agriculture looks like and rotational grazing. You get to see it up close. You get to see where your food comes from right next to the city. What an amazing opportunity. Or in Potter Valley, we should build a hydroelectric plant on Scott Dam and start making money for Lake County. You know, we should get some funding for better roads to Pillsbury. We should add fish ladders up there. We can do a lot to help our fish, which I would love to see. We could restore, there's so much tributaries by the old railroad tracks that we should be restoring, that you don't have to rip out anybody's water. You could just have a better environment, better fish flows, better rural economy. Lake County could really use that. But instead of building stuff, which is what all our grandparents did when they came out here, we're just tearing it down. It's really wild. And it's always for an agenda, you know?
Yeah.
100%. Where is John Dutton when you need him?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, these
I know.
fancy people in the city are eating their Point Reyes blue cheese and their, oysters and clams that are all grown out there. And,
They're in the middle of COVID while we're all outside asking Fauci for a freaking hand.
Can I come inside the restaurant, Fauci, please?
Oh, Fauci,
I would like to sit inside with everyone else, please.
Yes. No, don't give me a shot before Christmas, Fauci. Fucking bullshit.
Oh, dude. He's going to get his.
And
It's
meanwhile, Newscom's in there eating freaking our Point Reyes freaking grass-fed beef.
coming. Point Reyes Wagyu. Yeah, dude, crazy.
Fuck that.
All right.
Exactly.
One other thing I want to talk about, and then I'll let you get back to life, but this whole introduction of wolves that's going on. And like I was reading,
Do we need to become wolf hunters, dude?
bro, you're not allowed to. You will be a felon and you will be arrested and thrown in jail for
Ooh,
shooting
this
a
sounds
wolf.
like some excitement that I'm ready for.
Bro. And I'll kind of turn it to you, but I was just like, grinding on your Substack, and I'm just like, oh my God. It's like, we let the wolves eat your cows, and then we'll just pay you the money you would have got from the cow that the wolf ate, which is our tax dollars. But guess what? That money happened to dry up, so we can't pay you for that anymore, even though we told you that's what we would do. And I'm thinking, we have freaking wolves in California? Besides Gavin Newsom, he's wearing the sheep's clothing. But besides that rat bastard, we have wolves in California, dude. They're coming south, baby. We're next.
I just want to listen to you guys talk. I'm done. I'm depressing. You guys are in.
Well, there's 200 episodes you
Way
can
more
listen to
intense.
on your free time, Keely.
If you ever
Okay,
if you ever come back to
perfect.
visit, you can come sit in studio with us. But maybe
Yeah, that'd be better. My little dark hole here. It's like slowly the sun setting. Yeah, I feel like you're picking all like my most depressing stories. I sound so
Sorry about
sad.
that.
There's good news. There's good things happening too. I swear. But yeah, not in California really. There's not a lot of good news here.
I like the boy who cried wolf.
Oh, okay.
Except it's true. It's true.
It's true,
Have
right?
you guys been following Spencer Pratt, by the way?
Yes.
Have you been following his stuff in LA?
Yes.
What
Oh
a
yeah,
legend.
Drew loves Spencer.
I would never have. What a plot twist. This is like our hero in California, Spencer Pratt. I love it.
I'm like,
Right?
yeah, that pink hat needs to get him. So they introduced wolves. Why? There was like a reintroduction of the wolf in order to deal with the game. Was that what it was, or why did they bring wolves? They decided to like they're releasing the wolves in Siskiyou County. They're like opening the cage and be like, "Go on, White Fang, get out of here, shoot!" And he like won't leave, and then they drive away, and one tear comes down because they bottle fed the wolf. And then they go out and eat cows. We want to eat the cows, not the wolves.
Yeah, the cows are for us, damn wolves.
Yeah, you get your own cows.
I'm dead. Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, you covered it. I mean, we introduced him into like. I don't think I need
Thanks
to
for
say
coming
anything
on the
else.
show, Drew.
You got it.
Tell you about your own shit.
You got it, really. I don't know if there's much more to say. Truly, like they reintroduced them in Colorado for sure. They got him out of Canada. They dropped him off. There's like a video of the governor letting him out of a cage. They had a whole ballot initiative of whether or not they want the wolves back in Colorado, whatever. But California, we didn't have a ballot initiative. Like we didn't vote on this. Some people tell me they migrated out of Oregon. Other people tell me, like you're talking about, they found the cages open in the woods and they found like all of these creepy, weird signs of they think activists have let them out. I can't prove that. I'm just telling you what I heard. I trust. I always feel like the people that like spend all their time in the woods, they know the stories. They know what's really going on. So I just kind of veer toward them anyway. But that's what they tell me. They tell me they've seen weird stuff, and now it's been happening for a long time. But it's like this year, there's critical mass, tons and tons of wolves in Siskiyou, Sierra, Plumas, all these Lassen northern counties. And yeah, it's gotten really gnarly, and we don't have enough wild game. And California, you can't shoot a wolf like you're talking about. Like you can't, even if they're attacking your dog or attacking your animal, you can't do anything about it.
You sit there and let the wolf.
Fuck that.
You let the wolf eat your fucking dog, dude. That's what they tell you have to do.
No, dude.
Bro.
They're telling us we can't do a lot of things.
I'm growing this
and
white herb
sick of it.
mustache for a fucking reason, dude. Like, if I see a wolf eating my dog, I'm eating wolf for dinner. There's absolutely no negotiation about that.
Of course. That's where I draw the line is fucking wolves.
She in her Substack, she's talking about how these people live in the country. They drive an hour to take their kids to school, and when they go home, the kids have to stay in the house because there's fucking wolves outside. Dude, and they can't shoot it.
It's wild.
Yeah,
it's
fuck
wild,
that.
dude. It's crazy. Yeah.
We're living in
finding the
Covello.
tracks by the sandbox and all this. It's insane.
We should round them all up and put them in Gavin Newsom's place.
Right.
Let him loose in all of his vineyards that he bought.
Don't shoot them, Gavin.
Yeah,
No.
don't. Now, what are you going to do, Gavin?
Yeah, I know
Can't shoot 'em.
They ate your prize-winning geese that you have around your Napa pond, but the thing is, it's just like it's we're joking, but it's not funny because it all comes down to this: you don't have a right to defend your livelihood, your pursuit of happiness, your life, liberty, and ability to exist as a human. When did wolves and fish and any other person become more important than your own than human beings? You know what I mean? It's like it's asinine. It makes absolutely no sense, and it's the opposite of how humans survived and thrived. This is absolutely anti-human agenda to depopulate, to make people not have power, to not be in control. We don't own the water, the state does. So they're going to tell us what to do with it. And then we can't grow food, and then we can't eat. Beef is bad. We got the beef off of, the grassy knolls. Now we're all eating bugs and fighting against each other in these cities, in these urban rural areas, stacked up tall. It's crazy. And you people, I love you, but we keep voting for the same fucking ass clowns that are basically the ones closing the fence around us slowly. And now the wolves have been released, and you're not allowed to shoot the wolves. The wolves will eat your dog. The wolves might eat your kid, but if you even shoot at it to scare it away, that's a felony and you're going to jail, dude. Give me a break, bro. All right, I'm sorry. I'm not
even kidding. I want to like clip everything you just said and make that like a political ad in California.
You have my full...
It's perfect. Nailed it.
Yeah, you can use that wherever you want, however you want, and donate the money to cattle ranchers.
Thank you. I will. You're going to see that again. That was perfectly said.
Anyways,
the wolves are closing in, and they let the wolves out.
Okay,
exactly. Nailed it. That's life in California.
So to put a bow on it, what's a positive story that I didn't read? What can we say that's good? What's good out there? You know,
we're in California, dude. You're in the wrong state to talk about positive things.
Yeah. Okay, well, I tried.
How's the weather down there in SoCal?
It's nice. It's nice.
That's
it's good weather. That's why we're all here, right? That's the only thing we got going for us is the weather. That's why we all end up in this hellhole of a state. We just keep telling ourselves it's paradise.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do?
We can choose better leadership. You know,
we can. I mean, it really is like. I feel like this state is just. I know so many people who've moved. I'm sure you guys do too. Are you both like born and raised Mendo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I feel like I've watched so many people leave, and it's like
right.
I'm about to
leave this state to them. I don't want to. I want to fight it out.
I know, bro.
Yeah.
When we started this podcast, I'm like, these colors don't run, baby. This is my home, and I'm fighting for it. And now I'm looking around, being like, fuck, I stayed too long.
Yeah,
like,
I didn't get out in time.
Everyone left, and I'm the last one in the Alamo, dude. And they're right at the gates, baby.
Yeah, I'm going down with the Titanic, bro.
And now no other states want us because all the other Californians went there and ruined it. Like,
right, they won't have us anymore.
I know.
Yeah.
No, they hate us. They get so mad. I like drive to Wyoming, and if I have California plates, I get death glares. It's like they do not want us there. We gotta fix here because there's nowhere to go.
Right. They're like, we know what y'all did to yours. Don't come over here and try to do that to us. We like beef here.
I can't even blame them.
I know. I agree.
Yeah,
with you.
I'd be the same way as soon as I got out of here. I'd be like, oh, you're from California? No, go back.
Only thing I can do is I promise
right.
if I move to your state and it's red, I'll just look at how you voted and copy your test. I'm not going to come over there and make it California. I want to go there because I like personal, property rights and family values and, being able to like provide for my family without the government telling me they own everything. It's just call me crazy.
You're crazy.
Oh. I don't get why Mendo isn't more like that. Like, I'm not saying we're ever going to be like a conservative place, but we like freedom. Like, we clearly like that's our whole ethos is just like leaving alone. So it's weird the way we vote sometimes. You know what I mean? I get confused by it. And it's not like the people I know, like the ranching community, like they're not the ones. So I'm not sure. I don't think the hippies are either. Like who's voting for this?
It's the ones that were like, dude, Berkeley's a shithole. Let's move to Redwood Valley and make it Berkeley. I mean, that's kind of like how it's like this bleed off from the Bay Area that comes up here, which is fine. Everyone is welcome. But again, it's like, don't change it into the place you left. You know what I mean? Like we came here to create a different way of life, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's not right or good or bad. It's just different. And let's keep being different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, keep Mendo.
Yeah, there you go. Right,
there's another shirt.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you can have that one. We'll trade the political ad for the shirt. I'm gonna wear any shirt you make, so let me know when those.
Oh, you don't want the Keep Potter Valley Moist idea?
That one I don't know about.
Come on, I need you to be the model.
I'm not gonna lie. That one may not. I may not buy that one.
All right,
the rest, I'm on it.
Fuck the fishes out. Keep Potter Valley moist. No,
keep coming, dude. Keep brainstorming. Something's gonna stick.
We'll find something.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on and
yeah,
just doing what you're doing and spreading the word. I know you probably have, a life and just so much going on. We just from running this, our small little show, we know how hard it is to like manage regular life and then really try to do what, seems like the right thing to do and how much that takes. So I just want to say thank you personally. And so many of our Instagram people support you and we're like, dude, get her on. And she's just so awesome. And so you have a whole following here in your hometown and beyond, just so you know, if you ever, when you come home, everybody's waiting for you. And is there anything else you want to say to the people listening? Anything else we didn't touch on?
Well, that means a lot, first of all. I come home a lot, so I can't wait to maybe we do this in studio next time or something, and hopefully have some good news to share. But yeah, I really appreciate that. I think it's like I hate that I moved away. I always think of home as like Potter Valley. When I say the word home, it's Potter Valley, and I know a lot of rural kids. Like I did get to go to college. I did get to travel the world and have a lot of cool experiences after I left Potter Valley, which was all I knew for the first 17 years of my life. And I feel like that place shaped me and I owe them so much. And I don't ever want to just take what I got from that place that I grew up in and benefit myself and my career. Like I'll do everything I can to help with the dam. And I'm certainly not alone. There's a lot of great people fighting for this. You guys absolutely included. I really appreciate you being patient with me and having me on. I know we've had some scheduling conflicts and just really appreciate you guys asking me on. I think this is so important for our community. And I just hope it's a chance for us to, I think Mendo's been a little beat down since the fires and, it's tough. It's not an easy place. And I hope this gives us kind of a shot in the arm because I think we can fight this and win it. I really do. Maybe I'm delusional. I've been told I'm delusional that there's anything we can do about this damn issue. But the fact that, the ag secretary tweeted about this last week, tweeted about Potter Valley, that's a big deal. That's really cool. And I just think we can fight this. And I'm so sick of Jared Huffman and these politicians telling us it's a done deal. There's nothing to be done about it. I do not believe that's true. And I think we have a good fighting chance here. So thank you guys for what you're doing to spread the word.
Yeah, absolutely. You know who else was delusional? George Washington. All right. And look how that turned out. So don't give up the fight, man.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Another t-shirt. Yeah. 100%. Delusional like George Washington.
That's it, dude. All right.
That's a good one.
All right. We got
I like
one.
this one.
All right.
I love it.
Productive brainstorm sesh, crew. Thanks for coming out.
We got one.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much again. And let us know when you're back in town and you have a free hour. We would love to have you in the studio anytime. And yeah, thanks for what you're doing for the West. Like I just watched the Wyatt Earp documentary thing that Netflix did, and I didn't realize that like the time period of the Wild West was also when they had like buildings and cars and like real life in New York, and those two time periods were the same. I didn't realize it until I watched that show.
Yeah.
And it kind of seems like that's what's going on now, right? It's like we're still the Wild West that people just don't even have an idea of until they come and experience it or see one of your videos of these farmers in Potter Valley losing their water and like what life is really like here. And so I just want to thank you for your journalism on the West because it's so important and it's really making an impact.
Wow, that means a lot. Thank you so much. Yeah. Mendo is so cowboy and like so Wild West. I feel like it's the wildest place I've ever been. It's crazy. I don't think people would believe half the stuff that goes on here. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really special place and you're 100% right. Like when I could tell these stories, people in DC, they're like blinking out. I did a doc last year on like a rancher who was killed up in Humboldt County by, it's kind of a wild story, but the cartel was the initial like assumption that that's who it was. And the people I talked to in DC were just like, what are you talking about? Like in America, in California, like where is this place? Like, yeah, man, Mendo.
Yeah. I was in Bell Springs all day today, so I can totally vouch for it. It's still wild as fuck out here, dude. You know what I mean?
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. And the thing that's crazy is like, the cannabis industry.
That's exactly where we were saying.
Yeah, has basically collapsed. And there's all these beautiful properties that are just trash. So there's going to be I think like revitalization of Mendocino County, and it might take 5-10 years, but you know, it's a strong place. It'll come out on top. I believe in it. So yeah, thank you, Keely. Appreciate you.
Thank you guys. Love what you're doing for the town, and you guys are awesome. Appreciate you.
All right.
Right on. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next week with another episode. Write your Congressman Jared Huff. Reach out to old Newscomb. Tell him you don't support this bullshit and don't support this goddamn corruption that's going on. We got to fix this place.
Yeah, and be a bro and share the show. Yeah, spread the word.
Hey.